What is going on, First Descendants? One of the most anticipated games here in the channel has been the First Descendant. We fell in love with the game and we've been excited for the release of the game. And today we got some really massive news about brand new content being added, a few fixes being implemented, and I want to talk to you guys about that. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and talk about the things that we felt were wrong when we played the open beta, and also the new content that's coming our way. So if you want to stay up to date to everything the First Descendant, keep it locked here and let's dive into it. So two major things that they wanted to highlight within context of this Dev Note Volume 8. They wanted to talk about the co-op player improvements that they made based on the beta. So one of the biggest issues that came out of the beta was that when you were going to certain areas within the map felt a little bit empty. There wasn't enough enemies there and the space felt very void. Now, they wanted to address this, and the way they decided to address this is by upgrading two major core pillars. Number one, the co-op play improvement, and also improving the field content enrichment. All right, so let's talk about the co-op first, because this is the first thing they addressed. So just to summarize real quick what the problem they were having and how they fixed it is they said that the reason why this was the world felt very empty was because when you logged into the game and you went to a specific zone, you were given access to the whole entire map, right? And since there's so many teams running around that specific area, they couldn't have a lot of enemies within that area without having problems with stability and stuff like that. So what they did is, instead of giving you access to the entire map when you go into the world, the map is gonna be divided into zones known as battlefields. So basically what they did is they took the map, they cut it into different sizes or different pieces. As you're seeing in this image, it looks like it's cut into like 5 different zones. And now when you log in or when you launch into a map, you will be thrown into this zone known as a battlefield, which is what they're calling it. And this is going to allow for more enemies to be present. Plus, it's going to give it more fluidity when it comes to co-op. And in addition to, if you're ever having a problem that you need to play with someone because you're playing solo and you maybe want to play with someone co-op, this should make the connection with someone else a lot faster and more seamless, due to the fact that since it's a condensed area now, it's no longer a big map, it's going to allow you for the connectivity to be a lot better. All right, next let's talk about the field content enrichment. This is where things get a little bit interesting, because they said that this was one of the biggest things that got addressed during the beta, and they were trying to figure out exactly how to solve this, and they came up with two ideas. Number one, improving the missions, and number two, adding more field content. And this is what has me really excited, because now we're going to be talking about all the new stuff that's getting added. All right, so one of the new content that's getting added that's going to improve the field content enrichment is called encrypted vaults. Basically, what they're saying here is that the team has been focusing on adding more combat features, but one thing they wanted to add was these encrypted bolts. Encrypted bolts are going to be scattered around the field, and but it looks like they come in different variants. There's a white, a blue, and a purple one, and these are pretty much vaults that have been hidden within the map from the magisters, and they've been tucked away, and you're basically going to have to go and find these. Now, when you find this, you'll be able to decrypt them using a simple mini game to gain rewards. So basically, when you go up to them, you will be presented with this right here, which seems to be some sort of like maze, like a circular maze, which it looks really interesting and very intriguing. Usually I'm used to like collecting nodes, back and forth, but this looks like a very interesting puzzle that you kind of have to solve to actually open these. And I'm pretty sure, based on the rarity, the white one's going to be easier to solve. The blue one's a little bit mid, and then you have the purple one, which should probably be a little bit harder. And once you guys open this, you'll be able to get some really good resources. Now, what type of resources we're getting, it doesn't show the reward here, but I feel like they might be pretty solid and help you through as you're leveling up. All right, so the next new content they're adding is called Void Fragment and Void Fusion Reactor. This is actually pretty cool, and I like the concept of this because it gives a lot of more replayability. So when you guys are within the map or within the world, you're going to look for a thing called a Void Fragments. Now, Void Fragments can be destroyed by attacking of a matching attribute. So whenever you have an attribute and you match it with the Void Fragment, you'll be able to attack it. And when you destroy it, an item will drop out of this, and you will be able to obtain a thing called a Void Shard. Now, once you have the Void Shard, you're then going to put that Void Shard in the thing called a Void Fusion Reactor, which you're seeing right here on the image. When you do that, you're going to be able to summon a monster known as the Vulgus Commander. Once you defeat the summoned commander, it's going to yield a reward, making this an additional piece of content that can be replayed alongside with the field mission. So what he's dropping, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be very fundamental to be able to either level up a weapon, level up some gear, due to the fact that this is a replayable option. All right, so the next piece of content we have is called Vulgus Recon Outposts. Now, these are going to be scattered around the field, and these are going to vary in sizes. There's going to be little ones, small ones, large ones. It just depends. The bigger they are, the more enemies they're going to have. So if you ever played Far Cry, or any played any RPG where there's factions that are nested around the world that you kind of clear the outposts, this is very similar to that. So if you ever played The Division, you know what I'm talking about. The great thing is that these actual outposts have some really good backstory. So basically, the larger they are, the more massive power units are going to be there, who are there to investigate the Ironheart and transmit battle back to their bases. Because of the significance of this, they are guarded by Vulgus garrisons. When a Descendant discovers the outpost, you are automatically assigned to this mission to destroy it. Your objective is to eliminate the Vulgus station there and destroy the outpost, dealing a blow to Carol and the Vulgus Legion. So basically, the more outposts you clear, the more you are going to progress. Now, this looks very, very similar to like a faction war. I don't know if they're going to be implementing something similar to that, kind of like what Destiny had. But it would be interesting if, you depending on which region you are, depending on how many outposts, it's going to count towards a progression system. I don't know. That's a little bit more further down along the line, but that would be pretty interesting type of content to add if they added factions. All right, so the next thing they're adding is something called records. Now, this is very similar. Once again, I'm going to be referencing to Destiny a lot. If you guys know, Destiny at the beginning didn't have a lot of lore, so they created these kind of cards or records that you would learn a little bit more about the lore. This is basically kind of the same thing. I haven't seen them, but that's what I'm assuming. You'll be able to find these when you're exploring the area of the map, and you're going to discover various records. Now, these devices contain hidden stories that shed light into the worldview surrounding the content of Ingress. So these could also be obtained from various objects in the field, as well through different in-game activities such as quest completions, and they get automatically saved in the UI. Now, the great thing about this is going to give us a little bit more backstory of why we're fighting, why we're there, who's protecting the region. So anytime you get a really good amount of lore, it kind of helps build the story of the game. So I'm kind of glad that they're actually adding this. For a lot of people who said, the game doesn't really have a big storyline, I'm glad that this is being implemented because it gives us a little bit more sense of why we're there and purpose. Now, this is one of the features that might not be super huge, but it's definitely very huge for me, and I think it's such quality of life improvement here. So once you guys complete the normal story mission, you're going to unlock a difficult or a harder mode, right? So you'll be able to go ahead now with that hard mode unlocked. You'll be able to switch that whenever you're replaying dungeons or whenever you're replaying a different mission. Now, I know you might be wondering, Laser, what is the point of playing it on hard when I could just literally play it on normal? Well, we're going to have to test if the drop rate is better in hard than easy. That's something we're going to have to test when the game comes out. But the great thing about this is the fact that they said that you will be able to get better rewards. In addition to that, it's going to be more difficult, of course. The great thing is that you will be able to actually see what those rewards are actually dropping, which is something I feel like really awesome, because right here on this image, you see now what the difficult rewards are. So if you guys go ahead and play different sections of the map, you see what they actually drops. So you could go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to farm that because I need auxiliary power, or I'm going to go farm that because I need the support sensor. I'm going to go farm that because I need high power round, so it depends on what you want to farm. That it's going to give you an option to decide what dungeon or what type of region you could go to, play it on harder difficulty, and it'll show you the rewards you're going to be getting for that particular, map that you're playing on, which is really awesome. Now, in addition to that, they added another quality of life, which is one of the biggest issues that people were complaining about, is that when you're in a certain field and when you're a certain item within the game and you need help, now they have a thing called request support. Basically, what this is going to allow you to do, it's going to send out a signal to Descendants who are pretty much in the camp or in the field, and it's going to say someone needs help, and then you'll be able to go help them out if you are within the region, which is actually pretty cool. And another quality of life improvement is that now you're able to swap characters when you're in the map. So no longer having to fly to Albany. So no longer having to fly to Albion to actually change your character. You'll be able to actually change them within the map, which makes it really cool and something we are really excited for. Now, to wrap it up, they did show us the whole entire map, and it looks like we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different it looks like 9 sectors that we're getting access to here when the game launches. So I'm really excited for this game. I hope you guys are, but I want to know in the comment section below, out of all the new stuff that's coming out, let me know which one's the one that stood out and which is the one you're more excited for. In addition to that, if you have any feedback, any suggestions, either drop them in the comment section down below here, or in our Discord server, because we could actually relay this back to the devs, and they are actually very responsive. So hopefully you guys enjoy the content. And for more First Descendant, keep it locked here, and I'll talk to you guys later.